Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct this afternoon from Black Facts Headquarters Central here in Kent, Ohio. Another beautiful day in paradise. We're glad to see that you're here with us on another occasion to celebrate the life, the loves, and the ingenuity of the one and only Marcus Mosiah Garvey. As we continue to read, we're going to finish up his second speech from his address, his initial address to the Second International Convention of the UNIA and ACL of the World, 1921. So this will be from the second convention. But before we do that, we got a few things we need to do. Number one, if you're watching this on Facebook, you know we like you to go ahead and give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, we need you to go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And no matter what platform you're watching on, please go ahead and spread the word far and wide to your family, your friends, your enemies as well, that we are here for you, bringing you the best in Black history. We're taking the mystery out of Black history. And today we're reading about Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Let's see what words of wisdom old Marcus has for us today. Here we go. We got one right here. Education is the medium by which a people are prepared for the creation of their own particular civilization and the advancement and glory of their own race. Now, there was a quote that I keep seeing popping up from Carter G. Woodson about race and history that says that we should take the Negro out of history and put the Negro in history. So in other words, that we should not be focused on quote unquote Negro history or Black history, but Black people in history. But that's a ridiculous statement. Let me just say that. I love Carter G. Woodson. I agree with most everything he says, but that was a ridiculous statement. What makes it so ridiculous is this. Yes, we understand that Black people have played a role in world history. White people, yellow people, red people, everybody, all people. Matter of fact, the critters played a role in world history too. The buffalo, the cows, the sheep, the pigs, all of them. All of us have played a role in world history. How even the rocks played a role in world history. Think of diamonds and gold, silver and emeralds and rubies, etc. And you'll understand we've all played a role in world history. However, the history of a rock is not the same as my personal history. The history of a rock is not the same as the history of this American continent. The history of a rock is not the same as the history of the African continent. And it's certainly not the same as the history of the people who have primarily populated those areas for a number of years in recent times or in the past. So everything has a history, and certainly we need to focus in. If you really want to know the history of a particular thing or person or group of people, yes, you have to break it down. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You can't eat the whole thing all at once. You can only eat it one bite at a time. So yes, Black history is just one aspect of history, but everything is connected. And as we study Black history, we will learn about the history of not only everybody else, but everything else on the planet, because everything is connected. So it doesn't matter what part of the body you start with. You can specialize in the feet, the toes, the fingers, the hands, the head, the liver, the heart. you can focus on, you can start with any particular part of the body, and you can specialize like doctors do in a particular part of the body. But as you learn about that particular part of the body, that particular part of the body is connected through veins and nerves and muscle tissue and cartilage and bone structures, etc., to other parts of the body. So as you learn about one, you're going to have to learn about the other, because one affects the other. If your foot is not working properly, it will affect your back, your spine, and eventually your mind. So, all that to say, there is such a thing as Black history. We do need to study Black history, and we do need to take the mystery out of Black history. So let's go ahead and do that right about now. Let's see what we can do over here with our a little slideshow today. I had to I made some additions here, but I didn't have time to reorganize everything. So you know what? Here's what we'll do. We're gonna do this right here. We're gonna go at it like this. We're gonna go at it like it is. Here we go. Right over here. Boom. There we go. Start right there. I love this thing. I have really grown to be able to use this new program that we've got operating here, and it's a wonder when you get it to work right. Okay, when it's not working right, it's a pain in the derriere, but when you get it working right, it's a beauty. It's a thing of beauty. So enough said. Here we go. On with the show. On with the show. The show must go on. All right. So we're reading out of the book, Africa for the Africans. And we're finishing up Garvey's opening address for the Second International Convention of the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. You may not see anything on the surface of anyone holding a Pan-African Congress in Europe. But I want you to understand that if the Negro is to be properly led, he must go beneath the surface. In analyzing questions and issues that confront a race, I want to point out to you a treacherous bit of conspiracy to defeat the aspirations, the aims, and the hopes of this struggling race of ours. A world conspiracy is launched to again enslave this race, probably for another century or maybe even for eternity. Keep in mind, he said this 100 years ago, so that century is already passed. We can look back on this century and see just whether or not his claim was true or not. We are living in an age when humanity in itself sees no love, sees no charity, gives no sympathy. Humanity everywhere, divided up into separate and distinct race groups, is looking out for itself. Hence the cry of Germany for the Germans, England for the English, Italy for the Italians. I want to warn you of the kind of leadership that we have had. It is being used today so as to return us to serfdom and peonage and slavery, from which we were emancipated by great philanthropists like Abraham Lincoln and Victoria of England. Certain Negroes are being used today to defeat the aspirations and the hopes of the new Negro. I feel sure that those of you who will pay keen attention and study to political events will realize that a dangerous scheme is now being engineered in Europe to defeat the plans of Negroes in redeeming Africa. Africa is to become a common battleground of the exploiters. The exploiters who are now looking toward Africa as the only redeemer, as the only savior. And they realize that a change is coming about among those who claim ownership in Africa. The change is that those who claim ownership of Africa are crying out, Africa for the Africans. And those people who desire Africa have entered into a conspiracy to further darken or becloud the eyes of Negroes and turn their attention from independence in Africa. They talk about mandatories in Africa. It means nothing else but another 100 years of merciless exploitation of the natives and of the wealth of Africa. And they are now about to use certain colored men, certain Negroes, to defeat the intention of the far-seeing members of this race of ours. In view of that, therefore, I am going to move a resolution which I ask you to support as delegates representing the 400 million Negroes of the world. You have been honored here to represent the true interest of Negroes everywhere. They expect you to exercise statesmanship. They expect you to match your intelligence, your intellect with that of David Lloyd George and Clemenceau. Clemenceau sees down the ages. Lloyd George sees down the ages. And you will have to see down the ages. Otherwise, you are lost to the ages. And penetrating this scheme, we see nothing else but an attempt to enslave the Negro for another 500 years by compromising the issue of Negroes' intentions and desires at this time. This is the resolution which I will read, and I trust that you will follow me word by word, line by line, and get the intention of this resolution. Be it resolved that we, the duly elected representatives of the Negro peoples of the world from North America, South America, Central America, West Indies, Asia, Europe, Australia, and Africa, assembled in open conclave on this first day of August 1921 at the 12th Regiment Armory, New York City, United States of America, in Second Annual International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World, do hereby place on record our repudiation of a Pan-African Congress to be held in London, England, Sunday and Monday, August 28th and 29th. Brussels, Belgium, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, August 31st, September 1st and 2nd, Paris, France, Sunday and Monday, September 4 and 5. As also the Special Committee of the said Congress to visit the Assembly of the League of Nations, Geneva, Switzerland, after September 6th. Our repudiation of this Congress as representatives of the Negro peoples of the world is based upon the fact that W.E.B. Du Bois, Secretary of the so-called Pan-African Congress, and those associated with him are not representatives of the struggling peoples of the world, and that the men who have called this said Congress have not consulted the Negro peoples of the world of their intention and have received no mandate from the said people to call a Congress in their name. That the said W.B. Du Bois and his associates who call the Congress are making an issue of social equality with the white race for their own selfish purposes and not for the advancement of the Negro race, and that the idea of their holding a Congress in European cities is more for the purpose of aggravating the question of social equality to their own personal satisfaction than for the benefit of the Negro race. That we believe the motives of the Congress are to undermine the true feeling and sentiment of the Negro race for complete freedom in their own spheres and for a higher social order among themselves, as against a desire among a certain class of Negroes for social contact, comradeship, and companionship with the white race. We further repudiate the Congress because we sincerely feel that the white race, like the black and yellow races, should maintain their purity of self, and that the Congress is nothing more than an effort to encourage race suicide by the admixture of two opposite races. That we appeal to the sense of race pride among the white people of Europe not to encourage this Congress in misrepresenting the attitude of the Negro. The Negro feels socially satisfied with himself and means to maintain the dignity and purity of his race, and therefore denounces any attempt on the part of dissatisfied individuals who by accident are members of the said Negro race in their attempts to foster a campaign of miscegenation to the destruction of the race's purity. This convention desires also to place on record for the information of the white race that the Negro is a friend and protector of civilization, and that all the ills that attend civilization affect him. That the Negro is not racially a beggar, as represented by a worthless class of race leaders who have in the past made capital out of the Negro's poor economic condition, to beg the philanthropists of other races for donations in the name of the Negro, but which donations have been used more for the personal aggrandizement of such leaders than for the cause in whose name they begged. All that the Negro desires is a fair chance to work for his livelihood. And if he is given that chance, the entire race problem will be solved. The Negro objects to and denounces its old leadership that has fattened at the race's expense and that now seeks to foster propaganda that aims at the destruction of the purity of the white and black races. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to and filed with all those concerned, including the press of Europe, Asia, America, and Africa. Wow. Man. I see why him and W.E.B. Du Bois didn't get along. Jiminy crickets. Okay. Well, that was a very interesting piece. And just for your information, I know Garvey talked about Africa for the Africans, but I had definitely not read either one of those pieces, particularly that last piece. I had definitely not read that. I had not previewed it per se. I kind of looked it over a little bit, but I had not read that. I had no idea that's where Garvey was going. But that's exactly where he went. He went into full attack mode. Wow, that was a very powerful piece. I see exactly where why he had problems with other quote unquote black leaders. Yeah, I could see where they would not get along at all. Well, so much for today. I think that's plenty enough. I thought I might have to go and add something to this because there were only a few pages left. But on the strength of what I just read and the fire that was coming out of my mouth as I read that, I think that's quite enough. I'll let you go ahead and ruminate on that and digest that. And if you want to make comments, go ahead and make some comments. You can do it on YouTube or you can do it on Facebook. Either way, I'll try to answer any comments that are made as soon as I see them. But I tell you what, that was pure. Garvey was spitting pure fire. Pure fire. Yeah, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do some more reading of his works. But meanwhile, tonight, we're gonna come back, and hopefully we'll be able to finish up or almost finish this book right here, Marcus Garvey, Black Nationalist, from the Coretta Scott King Black Americans of Achievement collection. So we're gonna read that tonight, and we'll read some more from that tonight. And in the meanwhile, we'd like you to go ahead, if you haven't already, give us a like. If you're watching on Facebook, a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, and then go ahead and do as many other of you have already done. Whatsoever man has done, man can do, and woman too. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below. On the Tubular Black Facts channel, go ahead and sign up so that you can be one happy pup, because you will not miss the next installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. Peace with justice, because anything less disgusts us.